What's up guys, my name is Timbo and welcome back to another episode of The Mystery Behind, the video series where we discuss and theorize the lesser known characters' involvement in Destiny 2. Basically, while everyone in the Destiny community is talking about the Cades, Zavalas, Gauls, and Speakers of the Destiny universe, we're going to be focusing on the lesser known characters, those that Bungie nor anyone else is really discussing, and try to gather as much info as possible to make a theory pertaining to what their future looks like when we'll hopefully cross their paths again. So far I've got videos lined up to cover characters such as Osiris, Xur, Lord Salad Bar, and more. If these videos sound appealing to you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any. And if there's a certain character you want to see me talk about in a future video, let me know down in the comments below. Before we get started, if you would first like to get caught up, you can view the full playlist by clicking in the card in the top right corner. Now, last week we talked about Eris Morn, and while I got a significant amount of you giving me a variety of different characters and topics to choose from, which was awesome to see, today we're going to be discussing the Queen, her brother, and even a little pinch of Variks in there, because they connect to my last video. A lot of you believe that these individuals are dead, and weren't shy to tell me about it in the comments. But oh, are you guys wrong about that? Because not only will I prove to you that Mara and Uldren Sov are alive, but this video is going to be the most based in facts episode so far. More hard evidence to prove this to you all. As far as I can remember, the last time we actually see the Queen and her brother, Uldren, it still pains me, is in the Taken Kings opening. And I'll admit, I was like a lot of you out there, I thought these two were dead. Not only do Variks and Petra speak like they have no queen anymore, but it's hard to believe anyone could have survived this.
This is amazing!
Surprisingly enough, our blue-skinned friends are still alive, and somewhat well. Uldren actually crash lands on Mars after the battle, as told in multiple Grimoire cards that released around the Age of Triumph. These cards include Ghost Fragment Fallen 6, Ghost Fragment the Reef 4, and some others. Now, I'm not just going to sit here and read you the cards flat out, but as usual I will throw some excerpts in there so you all believe me. So the story begins with Uldren crash landing on Mars as we already said, and the card goes as this. He climbed out and saw the damage to his ship, and the truth to the Armada's devastation sunk in. It mentions that Uldren tries to contact his sister and feels a hum of starlight. That's not really important as of right now, but just keep that in mind for later. The card goes on about how he hides for a while, explaining how no one knows he's alive for the entirety of the Taken King and Rise of Iron, I guess, and eventually Uldren gets captured by some Fallen. On purpose. They debased him, they abused him, he bit the inside of his cheek until the blood filled his mouth. Ew. He struggled not to resist. They needed to believe he was broken, that he wasn't a threat. It was the only way they would bring him before their Kell. Now you might be wondering why Uldren wanted to get captured by the Fallen, and why he wants to see their Kell. But don't worry.
I can explain.
Everything I've talked about so far has been about Uldren and Ghost Fragment the Reef 4, but there's some information about what's going on with the Fallen at this time that explains why the Queen's brother wants to get captured and see their Kell. In Ghost Fragment Fallen 6, there's some Guardians scouting out the Fallen in the Cosmodrome, who have some interesting things to say. The Fallen are abandoning the Cosmodrome. Hawk flyovers confirm. The House of Devil's forces are simply not there anymore. They've been disorganized for the last few years, but there's never been a shortage of ground troops whenever we stage a significant sortie. This card goes on to talk about how all of the houses of the Fallen are disbanding. The House of Exiles, Winter, and Wolves all seem to be peacing out. But why? Commander, I'm not even sure if they're flying their banners anymore. The teams found huge mounds of burnt cloth and armor, ceremonial piles, in several of the most hardcore Fallen holdouts. What's changed? Where have the Fallen gone? Why have they burned their banners? Now there's one piece of information that I've left out so far which connects everything together for me. Nowhere in the cards does it mention the House of Kings. So with what we know, we can assume that perhaps the Fallen, instead of being in multiple different houses, feel that they'd work better together and be stronger as a race under only one house, the House of Kings. So going back to Uldren, if he goes and sees this Kell, he'd be seeing the ruler of all of the Fallen. And based off of what the Grimoire cards say next, you can infer that Uldren kills this Kell Trojan horse style and becomes the new king. The Kell of Kings, basically. One Kell rises and another bends its knee. And the prince felt the little hum of starlight ripple through him. The one that let him know she would be pleased with what he had done. So it never explicitly says here that Uldren is the new leader of the Fallen, but it's kind of implied. He's the Kell that's rising here, while the other bends its knee. And what does it say after that? Uldren feels a hum of starlight ripple through him, which is the same exact thing he felt when he tried contacting his sister earlier when he crash-landed. Mara Sov controlled the House of Wolves at one point, and it's she that is proud of Uldren for doing something similar, hence the card literally saying she's pleased with him. And I don't know about you, but the fact that he feels these hums from his sister tells me that she's not dead either. I don't know what she's up to, but being dead ain't it. The last missing piece to this story is Variks, because I don't think he's sitting idle either. Based on his current position in the Reef, I believe that Variks wants a united Fallen house as well. I'm not sure if he knows that Uldren is doing all of this, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did. Variks has the Elder Ciphers, which could easily make Uldren become the Kell of Kings. The only question here is their motive. We do see some really small snippets of Fallen in trailers, but not nearly as much as we see other factions. With Uldren in power, does this mean that the Fallen will fight alongside the Guardians? Perhaps those few fighting against us are just some small rebel group. Or who knows, maybe Uldren is evil now. Either way, after looking at these cards, I don't think there's any denying that Uldren is in control of one united Fallen house by the time Destiny 2 begins. And now that all of the facts that we have are out of the way, here comes the speculation and theories. These videos aren't meant to just tell you something that's going on in the background, it's about starting a discussion as to what we think these characters will be doing in Destiny 2. The reason why I wanted to talk about Prince Uldren and Mara Sov was because of their parallelism with Eris. In my last video, a similar outcome was reached. While there certainly weren't as many hard facts, you could guess that Eris would be in control of the Hive, that it's her fate. But in that video, there were just a ton of variables. Who was Eris referring to when she said, "my queen"? Was it Mara Sov or someone else? What was Mara Sov's plan? Was it just to use Eris to get the Guardians involved in defeating Oryx? Or was this part of something bigger? And if so, is Eris referring to that plan when she says, "I've accepted my fate"? Or is she a traitor, a liar, a villain? There's just too many questions that can't be answered right now. If you want my opinion, I'm starting to think that Eris might just be evil. There's no denying that Mara is talking to Eris at the beginning of The Taken King, but whether Eris is talking to Mara at the end of The Taken King is up for debate. I mean, sure, when looking at the outcome, you might think that Mara Sov's plan was to get her brother to lead the Fallen and Eris to lead the Hive, but when you backtrack, it doesn't make any sense. For that to be her plan, she'd have to anticipate Uldren crashing on Mars, getting held hostage by the Fallen, and then successfully take them over.
Not a great plan.
And I know plans in movies, games, and books can at times be unbelievably detailed to the point where the whole thing makes no sense. But even still, this is a bit of a stretch for me. Not to mention, Mara Sov doesn't really have a reason for getting control of the Hive and the Fallen. She doesn't know that Gaul is coming years before it happens, and even if she did, why would she care enough to go out of her way like this to help the Guardians? The only justification I can think of is power. With that being said, going out on a limb, I'd think that Mara Sov wanted to use Eris as a means of getting the Guardians involved in killing Oryx, but that's it. And so when Eris is doing her thing at the end of the game, she's doing something on her own, much like how she's leaving the tower to go after the Hive on her own. I said it in that video, but I'll reiterate it here. I don't think Eris will be in Destiny 2. I think whatever sinister thing she's doing will happen in the background for a while. Uldren, on the other hand, who knows? I'm not saying that he's gonna come in some scene with an army of Fallen to help us or anything. Sure, that'd be freaking sweet, but there's no proof of that. Being honest, it wouldn't surprise me if Bungie is setting up all these little character arcs like this to save them for later. Bungie has said how Destiny 2 won't have content droughts like Destiny 1 did, so it wouldn't surprise me if we saw an Uldren and the Fallen expansion one day after Osiris and Rasputin pass, instead of some dumb reskin Valentine's Day Crucible mode. But that's just me, and honestly, I could see either one of these things happening. But those are my thoughts, now I want to hear yours. Do you think Uldren and his new Fallen army will be an aid to the Guardians in Destiny 2? What do you think was Mara Sov's plan? Where the hell even is she humming around all this time? Do you think Eris is related to any of this, or is it just some coincidental parallelism? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm really interested to read what you guys have to say about this one. As I've said before, make sure to tell me what you want to see in next week's episode. I've got certain characters lined up, but of course, if there's one in particular you guys want to hear about, just let me know and I'll make it my top priority. But that's all I got. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.